strengths and weaknesses, they call them, but I call them like strengths and, not my thing.
My name is Stephen Tonti, and this is Attention Different. Our company was founded on a single idea. ADHD is not a disorder. We are a group of ADHD adults determined to address the ways in which our unique brain wiring makes our lives more complicated, but also to celebrate the traits that make us some of the most creative and exciting members of any given generation. My co-founders and I were curious about how other members of our community feel about their condition, so I invited 8 ADHD adults to my home in New Orleans and asked them to share their experiences. Let's dive in.
Welcome all of us, adults with ADHD, alive, living, many of us thriving, most of us thriving, all of us thriving, because we're here, we made it here. Welcome. We're a wacky group, and we have a sort of chaotic and very diverse, thrilling lifestyle, and we're here to talk about it. So first and foremost, a little cheers. Thank you all for being here. People may wonder why I'm dressed in what I'm dressed in, and I'll be very clear about it. This is my alma mater sweatshirt. This is my undergrad hoodie, and I'm wearing it because over 10 years ago I gave a TEDx talk at this school, and it went viral. It has over 3 million views now, and it's the basis of this company that we're launching, Attention Different. So I'm wearing this in honor to my younger self, who is way fucking more confident and ballsy and trying to give that life. So here to ADHD and to Attention Different. Yeah. Cheers.
Pass those around.
Yeah. So to start us off, we're gonna go around the ring, and I'll start to my left. And I'm gonna ask you guys to give your slate. So full disclosure to our audience, a lot of us here are filmmakers. In fact, everybody raise your hand if you're a filmmaker. Okay, everybody raise your hand if you're not a filmmaker. So we get the point. Yeah, so we're gonna do a slate, okay, which is just your name, where you were born or grew up, your choice, and then at what age you were diagnosed with ADHD formally, and if you weren't formally diagnosed with ADHD, at what age did you realize you were, or decide that you were, or feel that, right? So we'll start over here.
Okay. My name is Jordana Monet for short. I was born in Jamaica, grew up in Connecticut, and I was formally diagnosed with ADHD at 25 in grad school.
Hi, I'm Fred. Chicago born, definitely Midwest raised. Never was formally diagnosed. I'm sorry, I've already forgot the rest of the slate.
Oh no, you got it. I think it was all of it. Yeah.
Right,
okay.
cool.
When did you figure out? When did you decide, believe, were told?
All right, word.
What age?
Basically, I've been in and out in therapy. I would say throughout college, like undergrad stuff. I would say probably like 2013 when I started getting real serious about my mental health.
What age?
Let's see. I'm guessing it's like what, 19.
Okay.
Type
okay,
shit.
19.
Yeah.
So 25 and 19. Okay.
Yeah. And it was about that point that it was like, in the course of me trying to address a lot of other things that have made like really a big difference on who I am, it was like, oh wait, all these tendencies seem very familiar.
I want you to put a pin in that because we're going to come right back to that for the people who haven't been formally diagnosed yet. That's an excellent allegory and pretty on point, right? Like just, I found something online, I saw TikTok, I was on Google, something came my way, and I was like, check, shit. Right? Yeah. Okay.
I'm Mel. I was raised in Orange County, California, and I was like casually diagnosed when I was like 18.
Okay.
One of the TV show The Doctors, Jim Sears, the pediatrician, he was like a family friend, and he was just making jokes about how hyperactive I was and if I had taken my meds that day. And I was like, no, I haven't. And then like my mom was like, maybe that's the sign that the like famous pediatrician on television's like, you got a hyper one on your hands,
Interesting.
Mom.
And that was 18?
Yeah, he'd known me for a couple years, and he thought I'd been like medicated that whole time, but no.
Interesting. Ooh, I have heard that so many times. Actually, in fact, one of our founders, Marlena, our co-founders, Marlena, same story in college. A friend came up and said, hey, can I have some of your Adderall? And she was like, what do you mean? And she was like, because you're ADHD. And she was like, no, I'm not. And she was like, oh, girl, yes, you are. And she was a speech pathology major. And that was the first time Marlena got like positively screened for ADHD, was a classmate asking her for Adderall. So yeah.
I'm Laura. I'm born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I was formally diagnosed this year at 39 years old.
Woo! Ooh, same. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Cool. Okay. My name is Steven. I was born in Jefferson Parish, Louisiana. I was raised in Dallas, Texas. And I was very blessed to be diagnosed at 10 years old because of a first grade teacher here, Mrs. Fieldston at Cottonwood in Mandeville, said, which is insane. Anybody who's from here who knows how big Mandeville is, which it ain't, is tiny, right? This first grade teacher on the North Shore was like, that guy's ADD. And at that time it was called ADD, right? There was a difference between ADD and ADHD, no mas. So that that went from Mandeville out to Dallas. And then my second grade teacher was like, definitely. And I started doing my neuropsych evaluations and the whole thing, and I was diagnosed by 10 and on Ritalin by 10. We'll get to that.
I'm Elias Rodriguez, also from Chicago, which I didn't know Fred.
Hey!
Yo, we have so much in common. Okay. So I was born to an undocumented Mexican family, and so I did low income, and so I didn't have insurance the majority of life or know what to do with it when I had insurance in a corporate job. And so I was diagnosed 2 years ago at 37. And I'm 39 now, and that's about it.
Hello, my name is Thomas Johnston. I was diagnosed when I was young. I don't know how old, maybe 8 to 10.
Okay.
And I was raised in the South.
In general.
In general.
The
Like
whole
all-
South.
Like between like Louisiana, Mississippi.
Okay.
That's what I'd say.
For the people at home trying to track the accent.
Yeah. It's
exactly what I was like.
It's like both. It's both. If I go to Mississippi, I have an accent. If I go to Louisiana, I have an accent. So wherever I am, it's its own thing. Yeah.
I'm Manuel Pages. I was born in Paris, France, and in the country where we don't believe in ADHD, where we think it's an education thing. So I am not diagnosed yet, but I started going to therapy a few months ago. So it's in the process.
The journey continues.
The journey is
And
very
how old are you
interesting.
now? Just give us an age range, if you don't mind.
I'm 33 now, and I check a lot of boxes.
If she remembers.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god, and it starts. Oh yeah, no, right? Like, yeah. I'm like, I will slap you. Now, this is the vibe at Children and Adults with ADHD, the annual conference that's happening in November 30th this year in Baltimore. This is common, right? So, like, you find yourself at a table of 20 ADHD adults, and about 30 minutes to an hour in, hypervigilance falls away. There's no coping, and then by an hour and a half to 2 hours, there are just pot shots, like ADHD riffing nonstop. Like, oh, did you forget to do that? Hey, don't drop that.
Watch
We're
out,
clumsy.
though, because I was diagnosed with BPD too. So
Please. Oh, the co-occurring condition. It's like a rap battle. You're like, oh yeah, how many conditions you got? All right, yeah, watch me twitch. Yeah.
Anxiety, depression.
Oh yeah. Oh man, if you hang out with my mentor Olivardia, his whole lecture series is co-occurring conditions, and when everybody comes out of that 3-hour lecture on Thursday, everyone's sort of like, man, I gotta call my mom, my brother, and my cousin. It's just like going through the list of like, I think you got 3 things, girl. So, amen.
I'm Dave Davis, and I was, I guess I was diagnosed with ADD when I was like 11. And
Was it a formal practice? Like, was this a psychologist or doctor involved, or were you screened for it?
yeah. I don't think I really addressed it. And then maybe this year I started trying to take it seriously, as far as seeing how it affects me in life and wanting to do better.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah. The swan song of the ADHDer, right? I want to do better. But we're already doing so well, truly. Okay, cool. So going back around 10, 11, 33 and counting.
Yep.
Okay.
Young.
10, 8, 9,
Yeah,
11,
yeah,
somewhere around there.
yeah.
37, 10, 39, 18, 19, 25. Cool.
I like how I said that.
Very good at
early
this.
or
So
Yeah, by the way, I still don't remember, even though I said it 10 times.
Yeah. So one of the things that is absolutely true about ADHDers, and at least about me, was the number and symbol, like number and letter memory recall. So this was interesting for me, but it's not true for all ADHDers. This is my springboard to be like, we are all ADHD here, but we're all so fucking different.
Yeah.
We have a lot of nuance, a lot of difference in behavior. My ability to remember numbers and letters in a sequence is profound. My ability to comprehend what I'm reading is horrifying, right? Interesting. Yeah, I read extremely slowly. I'm one of the classic ADHDers where, like, if I'm reading a line of text, it'll take me 8, 9 times of rereading it in sort of like this perfectionist cycle of like trying to get the thing in my head. But if you say a bunch of numbers in a random sequence and letters and tell me to reorder them back to you, 18 long was the string that I got, like that, right? So strengths and weaknesses, they call them, but I call them like strengths and, not my thing.
Right, that's fair.
Yeah. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to go around the circle and ask a sort of weird and fun question that Benj and I came up with, which is, what is a myth about ADHD that you've heard? And we have a super diverse group of folks here from all around. I'm actually fucking thrilled. This is like a really great spread of ADHDers.
As far as I know, all the myths I've heard are true.
Oh, amazing! Amazing. Okay. Any one of them that then give us one that like rings the hardest bell.
We're bad with names.
Oh, okay. So names for you are tough and have been forever.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna put a pin in this, and I'm gonna do my best, like I did with all the ages that you guys are diagnosed at, to remember what your thing is, and we're gonna come back and talk about that. So, tough with names, ditto. Never forget a face.
A myth, not being able to focus, which is definitely a problem, but we can. It's just we can't choose what we can focus on.
Beautiful, and you sound like you're on the chat circuit. That's like the direct, like that's
I definitely can hyper focus.
Yeah.
I just can't choose what, and also, we focus. We get really aggravated if we get disturbed.
Ooh. Okay, so the myth being, just to clarify, we can't focus.
We can't focus.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And hyperfocus, put a pin in it. We're going right back to that. And also,
Yeah.
like I said, total Chad quote right there.
I would say that you can't do the things that you're not good at. So hypothetically, you're good at numbers,
right.
but not good at reading. Like, it's something that you can't be good at.
The
And you have
myth
to-
that you
yeah,
can't
sure.
be good at those things.
And
it's
there's a way to learn and get good at the things that you're not
I
strong at.
love that. That's new. Okay, that's a
I
great
actually want
nuance.
to know about this.
So this is an interesting inside out one, I feel like, but this would go very much to anybody looking for content that talks about ADHD myths, as I was doing right before I got my diagnosis, because I knew at that point, for some reason, that Adderall would help me, and I was like, please, at 37, I was like, please let me get this diagnosis, please, please. Oh, wait a second. I'm like, wait a second. But I remember everything, like, okay, so I need to pretend that I don't remember things, and I didn't realize that I created systems, so I actually...
A charlatan. I need to pretend.
I just got to that far in life and created systems, but typically I didn't, but I was able to remember things. So I was like, oh, I need to pretend like I don't remember
Not doing the things that you
but
said
I was
yourself to
able
do.
to
You
do
dumbed down during the session?
it. Yes. So
Okay.
that's what, yeah.
Okay. So if I can hear correctly, though, coping mechanism.
You're right.
Because a society not built for our brains.
Yes.
Turns into having to retrograde your own skills so that you can get the support you need.
Right.
That sounds oddly typical.
Also, thinking
Typical.
a thing that we might get to this later. Again, I'm from an undocumented Mexican family,
Go
so
for
it was also different layers of masking. That I was so afraid not to hit these marks that I was like, "What are myths?" Even like I would literally look up all the things to then reverse engineer and fit in, mask it.
Wild. Oh my God.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about 2E, twice exceptional with you.
Okay.
So myth.
Okay, so that you have to be hyperactive or bouncing off the walls all the time. Look at us, we're all sitting relatively still.
Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a slingshot, I'm gonna use it. Yeah. Teacher. So like the fact that the myth being you have to be hyperactive to be ADD or ADHD.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Which
Totally false.
a lot of times does happen with young boys, but not with young girls, and definitely not with adults, as you can see by looking around.
That actually brings up two myths in one, right? That you have to be hyperactive to be ADHD, and not only that, but that like boys, some people actually say that ADHD is a boys thing. It's not a girls thing at all, right? It's not a female presenting thing, which is utterly incorrect, right? Now, the presentations are dramatically different.
In girls, it shows up to being attention thing more than hyperactivity,
Yes,
right?
the masculine presentation, and here you're going to get some of my hoodoo voodoo, like two-spirit and all that sort of stuff, because I believe very fucking strongly and firmly in it. But like the feminine presentation of ADHD is often missed because it's not disruptive. What doesn't get seen? Daydreaming.
Constantly.
Just lofty up here, right? What doesn't get seen? Anxiety, crippling anxiety. I do not want to be called on.
Because it looks like to me, from about my experiences, it was like she's so attentive, and all I was doing was staring at my teacher.
The expressions of ADHD symptoms, especially as children, let's just call it this way: the radar that we have as a society is still very heavily geared towards masculine presentations of ADHD. So the radar, the pings are more masculine. They're disruptive, they're talkative, they're multiple questions, they're, as what's his face, Christopher Reeves said about Robin Williams. Robin was caroming. It's a great word, C-A-R-O-M-I-N-G, bouncing off the walls when he met him. Right, so like that, like they were roommates, Christopher Reeves and Robin. So like I think I got that right. Robin is an ADHD poster child, right? So but bouncing off the walls, that's the masculine presentation of ADHD. The feminine presentation is far more emotional dysregulation, is shame spirals, rumination, daydreaming, hyper aware of social order and like social structure, right? And to the point of anxiety and panic attack and stuff. But again, I say feminine and masculine presentation because, girlfriend, I've experienced everything I just listed.
My myth is that folks with ADHD just have to try harder. When I don't think it's actually trying harder, it's just trying to find the right like systems and tricks. Because and then once you do like get those down, that the things that work for you, you'll soar, you'll fly, like you'll be better than everybody else in your like workspace. And like,
would you call that the same thing as being labeled as lazy? Like you need to try harder. Being ADHDers are lazy. Or is it more of a give up?
Myth?
I think it's a like they give
or not capable,
giving up, or maybe they're just not trying hard enough. Like, yeah, it could be associated to laziness, but I think it's just trying. You have to be willing to try different things, and I feel like when you're growing up, some parents just do not know how to try like different ways of getting through problems and situations, and you just got to find the one that works.
Yeah. Amen.
Oh, totally.
Oh, we're gonna come back to all of these. No worries.
Word. My myth is going to be time blindness.
Hell yeah.
So the story supposedly is that because you have ADHD, you can't pay attention to time. You're either going to be chronically late to everything, your ability to keep those commitments will be shattered, you become easily unemployable. The reality of it for me has just been a very clear sense of like, what do I give a fuck about today? The way to thrive is just going to be instead to still find something that sparks you. But yeah, like, if you want time help, go where your heart goes. It makes it way easier.
The mistake made or the myth made here is the idea of permanence. You are permanently anything, right? It's just not true.
My myth is that there's any correlation between intelligence and ADHD, or IQ and ADHD, which there is not.
Well said.
Yeah, the prefrontal cortex doesn't control IQ.
There are high IQ ADHDers, and guess what? I've met folks who couldn't do a math problem to save their fucking life, but they are intuitive as fuck. High EQ, right? Very empathetic, very aware of the room. Like, they can read a room better than I can read a room. But if you ask them to, like, read Behave by Sapolsky, I don't know, like do some neurology 101 on a Tuesday, they're like, go fuck yourself. I'm not that, I don't, like, those are big words. I don't need those, right? It's like, there's a balance of strengths and weaknesses to us as there is to any other primate. Has anybody heard, these are two myths. Number one, that ADHD is caused by, right, like brain trauma or video gaming or watching screens or TV. Have you guys heard that shit? Yeah, okay, even bigger and better, my favorite to rail against is that, aren't we all ADHD? Aren't we all a little bit ADHD? Hasn't culture made us all a little bit ADHD?
I think it's just, what people say when they mean to be comforting. But it doesn't always comfort it. It can make things more isolating, especially if you're looking for an opportunity to share your particular experiences, or if you're seeking an opportunity for people to understand you a little bit more deeply. If there's kind of an immediate knee-jerk of, oh, don't we all? Doesn't everyone experience these things to an extent? It's like, sure, maybe I want to validate you, maybe to an extent.
If it's like this, why are we not like trying to teach people in bite-sized pieces where it actually matches my attention span? Why is it not a case where I can make my choices and move throughout the world comfortably? If I want to learn right now, I can learn right now. If I want to go work right now, I can work right now. Versus this part instead where it's like, oh, well, no, I need you to follow this regimented structure for whose sake? If we're all here and everyone has the same needs, how do you justify this? So who are you serving? What God do you pray to? What are you asking me to do? So I'm like, why are you lying to me?
I think that is the start of this. The TED Talk, the thing, like I had so many people, including my girlfriend at the time who was ADHD, but from the Upper West Side of Manhattan, where she was absolutely terrified by admitting any modicum of complex mental health in any interview because she thought it would be grounds to not get the job. And I thought, why the fuck are we lying? Wait, what? I'm supposed to go into an office and say, and of course every bit of my white male cisgender privilege came the fuck out. And I was like, well, this doesn't sound like something I deserve. But the deeper, more rooted point was the neurodivergence part. The part of like, wait, this feels like an admission of guilt that I don't own. Like, what are you talking? I'm guilty for something I don't own. I love my brain. My mom raised me right. I love my internal monologue. I love my inner voice, right? Like, so I'm supposed to just like hide it away? I mean, like, it's the same thing as any minority group, right? Like, it's the same thing as queerness. Happen to be there too. But it's like we mask. We have to hide it out of fear of being not included or not accepted or not being able to level up. And again, why are you lying? Right, like that was the rage inside of me. It's like, why are we lying? What the fuck? Who is this serve? How is this productive? How is it productive to pretend like I'm part of this system when in reality I fucking hate this system? I wish I could change this system. I wish I could make it fit my brain more often.
My family was focusing on assimilation for our own reasons, and just hearing something like that, and how could a younger version of me find something that makes it okay being white passing Mexican, but so I was like so assimilated, and I was like, oh, I would take any sort of somebody saying everybody's a little bit ADHD. I'm like, oh, okay, yes. So I guess it's just not a thing. I shouldn't look into it. Like that's just who I am. That's okay. Like everybody's like that, or like just don't overthink it or whatever. Just
and that felt comfortable.
It just made me to tell myself that like I'm wrong.
Oh.
Like my thoughts of like, wait a second, but I think I am. But it's like the assimilation was just so ever present of like, if somebody's casually saying everyone has a little bit of ADHD, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just overthinking it. I'm just like, I'm hypochondriac or whatever.
I've heard that so much in my life, and I did not want to be that person, but I clearly had issues that I was masking. And on top of that, my parents are extremely, smart, and they read a lot, and I was not. And I've heard, and what was the question again? Because I already lost it.
Oh my God, honey, welcome. Perfect.
Why am I talking about this?
You're not alone.
No, thanks. Great. Pressured to mask my whole life because my parents are smart, and they read books a lot, and they pressured me to read them, and they were like, you just need to keep trying and find the right book, and I'm like, I can't.
Who here says, raise your hand, I have ADHD? Who here says I am ADHD?
Yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah.
So this was something I wanted to bring up too.
Do it.
My wife.
Did you just say I like this?
It's it was a very quick relationship. The last year and a half that we came together, and I was diagnosed 2 years ago, and so basically I was realizing, oh, you might be ADHD as well, and then all of a sudden I was like, wait a second, you might be just neurodivergent, like spectrum and whatnot. And also the YouTube algorithm was hitting me, and I was just watching these things. Like a lot of it did remind me about my mother too. Like, so I was like learning these things retroactively. But then I was like, wait a second, this also reminds me of my fiance at the time, and then my wife. And I was like, wait, you should like look into this. And so then, like, watching the specific, again, neurodivergency spectrum stuff of like the people with autism, who are talking very specifically about some things that are in the Venn diagram of my ADHD, they are talking about it through the lens of an identity. Mm. And I'm like, damn, this is so comforting. Like, this is like, they just, like, this is who we are. And also randomly, like 3 of them I kept watching are from Australia. So I don't know if it's like way more in the conversation there. It's just so comforting that they're talking about it as an identity. Why the heck aren't we as ADHDers talking about it as an identity? And I'm like, again, and so I didn't embrace my Mexican identity until 5 years ago, like fully, and started learning Spanish. I didn't go by Elias until 2 years ago. I was Elias my whole life, and then I'm like, wait a second. That was so comforting to see the autism spectrum, neurodivergency people talk about it as like who they are, and like be so forward with it of like, this is the way we live life versus like this is like I'm learning systems to like then fit in still a little bit, but we are still shooing them away of like we don't have to fit in with that.
If you're gonna have a kid, some of you may not. You can totally say, I abstain, I'm not gonna have kids. But if you're gonna have a kid or you wanna have kids, how do you feel about them being ADHD? Do you want to pass it on?
It's fine.
Would you prefer?
It's fine.
I think it'd be, in a way, knowing what it is, I feel like I'd be able to understand my kid.
Okay.
Where like my parents weren't able to understand me, and I'm talking to them right now about this, and they're like mind blown because, they didn't see it in this way. So I think it would be great for my kid to have somebody that understands that.
But if you were going through a checklist and had to click blue eyes, ADHD, not ADHD,
No, I
who
would
click
definitely
ADHD?
pick
Who would
not
click
ADHD. Yeah.
Oh, that's
only
I like
two
that
options.
reframe. Okay, wait, let's go.
I think
what
I
would
would
you click?
definitely. I feel like I would pick not ADHD though.
Okay, and leave it there. What would you click?
I'd probably pick ADHD and
you don't get to qualify yet.
Something. Well, I want to.
I know. We're gonna go back.
To what you said earlier.
ADHD.
Yeah.
ADHD.
ADHD.
Not ADHD.
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 I would abstain.
Okay, so present.
I support that.
Yeah, present. Okay. You wouldn't pick no designer. Okay. Also, ditto. And I feel like an ass. Yeah. Can we vote on that one?
That wasn't an option.
No.
So it was my turn. So.
Okay. If you had to choose.
If I had to choose.
Your first answer, by the way, was abstain, and that is
Yeah.
accepted.
Yes.
I
Still
wouldn't
abstain
want to
from
make
it.
anything more challenging for a child I would have than it would need to be. Then I want to give them every advantage. I would say, and
Yes.
at some point,
That comes from a place.
yes, and at some point, ADHD in very specific circumstances, ADHD can present with advantages, but it's not a superpower as you were saying earlier.
No.
You know what I mean?
But I always feel weird about any idea that we should decide for anyone else.
Amen. Right.
So
yeah.
I'm very cautious. So if I could abstain, I would happily abstain.
Yeah.
But two is this other part where like there's a big unspoken statement about both systems, oppression, and society, where you're saying, should I force my child to assimilate? Yeah. Should I sit there and try to rip off whatever is required from them so that way they avoid any type of oppression, any type of targeting, any type of privilege
So by
that's already
making
been-
not ADHD the decision,
Exactly.
are you kowtowing to the same culture you
absolutely
disdain?
are. You literally said, hey, I want to make it so that way my kid does not suffer the same sort of oppressions neurologically that I've already experienced.
God, I love this.
Which is very, very familiar for any immigrant child that has grown up not being able to know their language, not being able to connect to your culture, feeling ostracized by your race, by your location. There's a whole package of trash that comes when you choose that. Yeah. And then it comes to the other part where like then you become this token and you can't connect with your own people, and you're also ostracized in the new space that you're at, and you will never be who you were ever supposed to be because you've already had that decided from you by the people that supposedly love you.
If we had a kid that was not ADHD, I mean, I feel like that would not be difficult. Like, I'd be like, wow, so glad you were able to focus today and actually remember what you did
I
in
think
school.
a bit of like
What?
jealousy.
Yeah, I would be like, wow, you're
Unborn child being like, well, someone's an A+ student. Like,
you remember what happened
someone
today?
did their homework on time and got an A on their quiz.
Like, I just don't see how
Yeah.
this would be difficult.
Again, the designer baby thing comes up, right? Like, if we could all abstain, we should abstain. Is kind of a thing. Is a vibe that I'm picking up from some of you, not all of you, right? Like, if I'm presenting that. If I could abstain, I'd rather abstain. I don't want to have the responsibility of choosing, so I'm not going to choose. I'd rather it be a spin of the roulette wheel, right? Having said that, though, It's fascinating that I could hear both sides in the same poetry. I can hear both sides. I can hear somebody saying, "Why would I ever make a decision for somebody that's going to domino effect in their life? Like, just let it be." But I can also hear the same thing from a person who goes, "Why would I not include this person in their life? They're going to be fucking part of no matter what." We'll move from this to what would you have preferred that your younger self heard? This is very RuPaul. This is very Drag Race, and I love it. Ooh. We're going to start mental, and it's the idea, like, imagine a little photo of your 6-year-old self.
Yes.
Okay? This is that moment. Yes, I know. She's just getting into RuPaul, so it's a big deal for Mel. So, like, you're looking at your 6-year-old self, your 8-year-old self, your 10-year-old self. What do you wish someone had said to that person?
It's hard because, like, no one knows that I have that condition, or like, it's starting to know.
You
Well,
have
then
that
what would
condition.
someone have told you about your brain?
Like, you're smart.
Oh.
You know, I wish that someone would have said that, but I'm still, like, struggling with that myself. So, you know, feeling...
Unpack more. Why would it have helped for someone to tell you that?
Because I think that I always thought something was wrong about me, you know? I wish I didn't have to hide myself. Maybe, like you don't have to hide it.
Oh,
That would have been
that.
cool.
Okay, someone said you don't have to hide it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, okay, that's great.
Cute.
That's really cool. That's fucking dope. Yeah, amen. Okay, Bubba.
I think I wish I would have tried medication when I was young. Just to
So
kinda
you wish
see-
that someone said, hey, try this.
Yeah, see how this works. Just to see.
When was the first
and-
time you tried medication?
Still haven't.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, still haven't. Want to, and like have been exploring it, and
Shocking.
I want to feel like I deserve. I don't want to say need to, because I don't know if it's like, I don't know if it's a fix or not, but like that's something I'd like to do to see if it like helps.
Thomas, how many Red Bulls a day do you drink?
A lot.
But how many?
Oh my god, what are we?
How many is a lot?
8, 12.
Probably, yeah. 12, yeah.
Oh my god, this is like going on.
So you've tried medication, you just haven't tried the prescribed kind.
Sure, yeah. Look, today I went to go
Caffeine,
meet
nicotine,
somebody in
ADHD.
Slidell. I drank 2 Red Bulls and 2 coffees in a 30-minute drive. Yeah.
In a 30-minute drive, you literally set a roadmap, right? BPD was, I have a roadmap.
Yeah.
Right? So like medication, I'm struck by that. Like that's you saying, I want that roadmap. I want something.
Yeah.
I want a treatment modality.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to keep going on the roadmap stuff because I really like this. And I think just what you said then, the awakening, because I did go to, part of my journey was going to Mexico for the first time 5 years ago. And then that was just its own awakening and everything makes sense. 2 years ago, I got diagnosed ADHD and I was like, oh my God, another layer of life makes sense. I'm like, I'm so glad I'm finally done with learning. This is good. And just, like, please, like, if anything, it was just so much information.
What does it
especially
feel like on
wanting
the
to know-
other side?
Oh my God. And then 4 weeks ago, I started my first SSRI, and I didn't realize I also had depression my whole life. And that's working like so incredibly. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm so grateful I'm learning all this shit, but like, damn, like, it's so much to learn, but also the empathy I feel for myself. But
Okay,
again,
so
like,
so what do you wish was said to your 6-year-old?
I guess these 3 things, I guess, that like you're going through some shit that your parents don't talk about because they're assimilating for survival. That's okay. And then like you have these conditions of ADHD or whatever, ADD at the time, but that's going to be okay and you're not in trouble, I guess, is the bigger thing. And like you're not doing anything wrong. Yeah, you're not doing anything wrong was such a thing I needed to hear when I was younger.
My dad was textbook ADHD, but wasn't diagnosed till he was in his 60s.
Whoa!
And so, but looking back, it was sort of the overwhelming culture of our family of like, that guy's weird. And
also a great compliment in the ADHD community. The weirder you are, the cooler you are.
Absolutely. All the best people are weird.
All the best people are weirdos.
I was weird in the same way that my dad was, and I had to mask it because of my family. That guy's weird. And
It was a pejorative.
I wish that someone had told me at 6, like, that guy's fine, that guy's cool, that guy's different, but okay.
I know.
That guy is successful. That guy is different but successful. And I wish someone had told me you can be yourself and be different but successful.
Oh man. Okay, wait. So you can be weird.
You can be weird.
Or weird is cool?
Weird is cool. Weird is
Weird is
fine.
cool.
Weird is cool.
Weird is cool.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, fuck yeah. Yeah, you don't have to hide it. Take this.
You're not
Remind me.
doing anything wrong.
You're not doing anything wrong.
Weird is cool.
Weird is cool.
You don't have to try so hard.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
when I was a kid, I would get tested and screened for ADD, ADHD, and I would pass the test because I tried so hard to pass it and was trying to mask everything. And they're not testing you in the right environment. So like maybe if I would have like.
Amen.
They're testing you in a white-walled room with nothing on the walls and there's no students next to you. Like that's not. You have no distractions. Absolutely nothing.
You know where you need to be, and you're smart enough to
I was smart enough to figure it out.
I know what my problems are. I know how to make these problems not exist on this test. I know how to like make this test.
I'm
go
an
the way.
actor and I've been one since first grade.
right,
I'm
right.
going to act
Yeah.
like I don't have this problem because I know what to do in this situation. But if you're going to put me in my real environment, whew, that's a struggle. So yeah,
You don't have to try as
I
hard.
don't have to try as hard.
I always like how basically everyone has the same message in different formats.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. No. Oh God, amen. But don't steal that focus. Go on.
No,
What's
no,
yours?
no,
What's
no,
yours?
it's a whole
What's your
different vibe.
slightly nuanced but same thing?
I know you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So I wish someone told the 6-year-old me like, "There's nothing wrong with you." And I remember like that was a statement. That was a statement that it was one of the elders in my community. Like she like pulled me to the side because it was the first mental breakdown I had in college.
Whoa.
And bro, I
Who was the elder in the community?
she's one of my aunties. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like 60 something. She had a terrible car accident. Like it was funny because beforehand she was a really extroverted person. This thing happened, and then like she really like this thing happened. Her husband died. She never had kids. Her 40s went from like this to being like, all right, I had to build myself back up again.
Yeah.
And so over the course of like 20 years, like she got real. She pulls the family together a lot of ways. This breakdown happens. I finally come clean to the first person in my life, right? And like she's like, yo, baby, there's nothing wrong with you. And like, I was like spiraling out for like all the shit. Like you talking as much as you wanted to do. You over here, you running through all your ideas, and she's not only listening, but she's also like, all right, that's real creative. This is what you should do with that. Like, hey, you have a business idea. This is what you should do with that. You need to go get some experience. This is what you should go do with that. And it was the first time that like,
Oh my
all
God,
this
she met
shit-
you where you were.
exactly. But like, I realized one of those core things is like, I haven't had anyone support me the way that she supported me then,
Yeah.
right? And like, it's
And
also
she
one of
must have
those
done it
things-
before because you sought her out.
The thing is, on some real simple shit, I only knew about her from stories because she was there when I was born, but she had never
I
been
know,
part
right?
of my
I'm
life.
with Mel. This is
Yo.
By stories,
I
like
know.
oh,
It's
what a
like finding
legend.
Merlin. Yeah. No, it's like finding
Oracle.
Merlin
Yeah.
at her house. Like,
Literally.
yeah.
Literally,
The Oracle.
like,
Yeah.
in my phone to this day, she is saved as the Oracle. Having that space and having that person was like actually able to ground me, but then also like, I wish I knew this shit sooner.
Yeah.
Bro, I wish I knew this shit sooner. And then also knowing from what it like, I can't tell my family that because I was right. Because like after I spent that time out, and it became to one of those points. She's like, I can only hold you for so long. You know, you got to go back. I can't hide you from.
Oh my God,
like,
you made me cry. She sounds
I
like a
can't-
brilliant
exactly,
angel.
right?
She sounds like an angel. Yeah.
Still
So
fucking
wise.
is. Still fucking is.
Yeah.
And so like,
Hold on tightly, let go lightly. She was training you.
bruh,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of things I know about how to be kind and how to like be there for people when they are falling apart.
Yeah.
That come from that like experience.
You have it right now. Do you feel how like control? Does everybody feel like control and like resonant as voices and like centered? You're not moving a whole lot. You don't shake a lot. I believe you at face value. Yeah, I feel like in a crisis you are incredibly controlled.
I feel like that's also like a side effect of like thinking like this is like I don't know if I'm the only word. Okay, cool. Cause I was like I don't think I'm the only person. It's like, hey, shit's going wrong. I know exactly how to handle
Hey,
this.
in a condition in which we are doomed to seek high stakes forever, when high stakes find us, we're pretty fucking great. Thank you for sharing that. What a fucking wizard your aunt is, and an angel.
The Oracle.
Bless her, the
Yes.
Oracle, right? Like, and we could talk for hours about those mentors who said some shit that just landed right and saw it. You were seen.
Yeah.
You were seen.
For the first time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say to ask for help because you deserve it.
Ask for help because you deserve it.
but also because not everyone thinks and processes the way that you do. These were things I did not realize as a small child.
Oh, that feels significant to me. So you need the addition of like not everyone processes the way that you do.
Right.
So ask for
I felt
help.
yes, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And
Go
you
on.
deserve that help.
You were worthy. I feel
You are
like it's
worthy.
Worthy of
Worthy of
yeah.
Ooh, I'm
assistance.
sorry. I think we just consolidated it. You are worthy of help.
You are worthy of help. There it is. Growing up, I was raised in a very authoritarian family that had very high expectations. Navigating that was really challenging. Being neurodivergent and not knowing that, and having parents who didn't really acknowledge neurological diversity was challenging. I had to, as many of you also had to develop systems to pass. That was exhausting and not sustainable, and things quickly fell apart entering adulthood. So, and then I didn't develop the skills of asking for help that I should have had as a small child because I wasn't supported in certain ways. And so I feel like I've been playing catch up, but it's been incredibly empowering to recognize that, yeah, I do see things a little bit differently. I do feel and receive things a little bit differently. I've been learning about rejection sensitivity disorder or rejection sensitive dysphoria, however you want to arrange those acronyms, especially having bipolar 1 as well, that I'm greatly affected by things like that are aspects of ADHD that aren't spoken about as often. For me, it's not so much the outward hyperactivity, right? It's more internalized, and so I spiral. And when I perceive even a facial expression or something doesn't go my way, or and it's very contained. It's a very small, quiet implosion. But then I don't ask for the help that I need, and I grow more slowly. It impedes the acceleration of my growth and my ability to do the things that I want to do in this world and in this lifetime. So, you are worthy of help. That's my.
I love that.
That's
You are
my key.
worthy of help. God, what a fucking end! Like a
Yeah.
good end. Like, okay, everyone here is worthy of help. I'm gonna say a little thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am wearing this sweatshirt because I went to this school and I got in an argument with my then girlfriend over I am versus I have ADHD. And regardless of which side you fall on, the point of that entire experience was self-identification, more importantly, self-actualization. So I wanted to self-actualize. We all want to self-actualize. We all want to launch in our lives, in our careers, our relationships, etc. And I felt very conflicted at this time in my life about how to self-actualize. And the irony is, I'm 32, and the same is true. I have not changed a bit on that spectrum. I'm still trying to figure out how to self-actualize. This is kind of part of that. I want to thank all of you, without being too emotional, for responding to a very ADHD text that came the same week of the event that you showed up to. And it worked, right? But
It's the right ones.
I am self-aware enough to know that I did my own level of procrastinating, my own level of emotional dysregulation and rumination to get to this point. And fuck, if I don't know how to wrap this up in a better way, suffering, embracing discomfort, stepping into the fire rather than around it or over it, has been more or less the tenor of my life for 32 years. And I'm sitting around 7, 8 other people who have the exact same experience, right? That we step into the fire because we're forced to. And thank you for showing up.
Thank you.
Thank you for hosting.
Yeah. And attention different rocks. Weird is cool. Okay, cheers.
Yes.
Everyone, cheers.
Cheers.
Our empty glasses.
We all